left ear surgery about 40 years ago. And I do pretty good with my hearing aid, but I might have to either repeat sometimes if it's too soft.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to answer whatever.
Okay. Okay, again, this is Brother Martin Gonzales. Some of you might know Mr. Heiberger here, he taught here, but he helped coordinate all this, so World War II vet. So we have Zach, Gage, and Gary, they're going to ask you the questions. Thank you for coming.
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah. You know, I introduce myself. My name is Brother Martin. The first thing I want to bring you Easter greetings from the monks at the Trappist Abbey. So we've been here since for 64 years. So we probably know your parents and your grandparents. And I'm not coming here to promote war, but I encourage you to pray for peace and appreciate the guys that are serving us. So you go ahead and ask whatever you want to ask.
Okay.
I might tell you how I got in. I first heard of World War II. I was watching a football game in San Diego. The Bombers were playing on Sunday, and about halfway through the game, they said, we got an announcement that President Roosevelt's going to talk to you about that bombing in Pearl Harbor. But we weren't worried about Pearl Harbor. You wanted to watch the football game. And in those days, you didn't have your cell phone, you didn't have TV, you didn't have... So after the game, the newspapers would have an extra, and you have the guys running all over town, extra. And you never heard of Pearl Harbor, you know? It was a whole strange thing, and I didn't realize that was the 41 December, and by November of 43, I'd be in Australia. That's the beginning. So you're welcome to, whenever you guys want to ask a question, that's fine.
Okay. When did you enlist?
Ready?
When did you enlist?
When I enlisted, I was a senior in high school when at 17, graduated in 17 years, and it was 1942. So the class of 42, so I had from 42, and my birthday was February the 22nd. So February 22nd of 43, I was 18, then I got my draft card. And then probably a space of about 3 months, maybe by May, I got a summons. I was from San Diego, California, so we had to go to San Pedro for the check you out and everything else. So when I graduated from 42 in St. Augustine High School, I went the last 2 years to Catholic high school because they gave a scholarship to the poor parish, and so I had a chance to go there. And so I had that 1 year, and I went to work in an aircraft plant. And so when I went to work at the aircraft plant, I was in charge of the basketball team. And so I had to go to I had to go see a doctor because something wrong with my heart a little bit, you know. I don't know what it was. So he passed me. So then when I went to San Pedro, you go through the whole line, you know, and then getting towards the end, I didn't want the other guys to hear that, but I kind of whispered to the guy, I said, you know, they checked me over in the aircraft plant, and nothing wrong with my heart. Oh man, he said, you're too young to have heart trouble. That was the end of that. So that was May of 1943. That I went back home, and then from there, after I came back to San Pedro, and then they send you to different places. And so I ended up in Camp Roberts, California, in the infantry training. So I was in I think it was the 69th company for wire communication, but it was all infantry, you know, just training.
Yeah.
So that's when it was. It was probably, I had that paper there, I think it was in probably June of 1943. So by that time I was a private, and they give you $21 a month. So, but you could buy ice cream for a nickel in those days, you know.
Were you awarded any medals?
I received a Silver Star. I got to do this. When when I joined my dad was from Texas, you know. The whole guys are from Texas, you know. You talk to a Texan, man, they got the biggest, at watermelons, they got the biggest, this. So my dad would talk about these Texas Rangers, you know, and I thought, boy, that's it. So I got to Australia, and after my basic training, I took basic training, 17 weeks in Camp Roberts. Then I went to Fort Ord after that, and then from Stoneman, and they shipped us out. We went out of San Francisco in a single boat and shipped, and there was no escort the shores for the first days, and then the rest of that, the guy had to zigzag to get back. It took us about, gosh, I don't know, about 2 weeks to get to Australia.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I was assigned to the 1st Cavalry Division. And the 1st Cavalry Division was the 4 regiments. And one of them was Custer's, the 7th Regiment. And the 12th Regiment, my regiment, had been in the Philippines in 1900. And then the other one, too, the 7th and 8th, and they had horses before. When the war broke out, you got rid of the horses and made infantry out of them. So I got assigned to the 12th Cavalry. And so when they told me, because there were a lot of guys from Texas in the South, so I thought I'd go and see all these big giants, you know. But I found out Texas is just as short as I was. So. but they talk real big because you can chew tobacco, you know. But once you get in combat, it's a whole different story. You know, when you're short or when you're Oregon, it's a whole difference. And that doesn't make you in every state you come from. You know?
Yeah.
But it was a good bunch to be with us. I was with the 12th Cavalry and the 8th Troop all during the campaign, you know, so that's when I got over there.
What made you want to serve?
Freddie,
What made you want to serve?
did you get that?
What made you want to serve?
Make me want to serve?
Yeah.
You know, I gotta tell you this, you know, that was a different war. And it was pretty serious, and the whole country was in fear. You know, when we woke out and we got that news on December 7th, and by that time they were worried about they would have blackouts, and I left a couple of books. There's one book I really recommend is by I think it's Bill Manchester, and it's MacArthur, the American Caesar. I'm going to give you a whole history. And so, you know, I went back to school, see, after I was a senior, and it was in December, so we still had basketball season place, involved in school and sports. And then, but probably about a year after the Pearl Harbor, they had a movie, the Guadalcanal Diary, you know? And so when I graduated from school in June of 42, I still had a year. And my dad, I didn't want to get in the Navy because we lived in San Diego and not too crazy about the Navy, you know. And then, so everybody wants to be a pilot, you know. So if you were 17, you could sign up and go to the Air Force. But I'd never been a pilot, you know. I didn't know it at the time. So I had to wait it out until, but you know, how would I put it? You know, you had to serve, and it wasn't easy, you know, and because then when he came into St. Peter, there's people from all over, all ages. And what happened, the war broke out in 41, they got the cream of the crop. You know, people that were 21, 22, 23. And then by the time they drafted me, they got the young guys, 18, 19, and then you had these guys that had been deferred, who had deferred because of jobs, because of age, and this. So when we got to Camp Roberts, you had that mixture. And one of the shocks for me was see a grown man pass out and carrying their barracks bags. You know, they were out of shape. We weren't in perfect shape, but we were fooling around in sports, and I've always been in sports from the time I was 8, 9 years old, you know. And so, you kind of, you knew you had to serve, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how I felt. Because when we got with the cavalry, we were in Australia, in Brisbane I got there in December, and then I had my 19th birthday going from Australia to New Guinea. And then we had our first campaign around March. And then, so what happened then, and I was assigned I was an assistant BAR man. And the BAR man, and BAR is kind of like it's a big heavy weapon. And you usually get the big guys, somebody, and so Don Chase, he was about 6'3", he sold Bibles in Minnesota. He's a great guy. He was Episcopalian and I was a Catholic, so we had big chats about church stuff, And so MacArthur wanted, if you look in the map, you'll see Australia and you see New Guinea, right? And then there's New Britain. And then if you look a little more, there's a little group that says Bismarck Archipelago and the Admiralty Islands. And the reason they want the Admiralty Islands is because the Admiralty Islands it made a bay in there that was about 18 miles long and 6 miles wide with a narrow entrance. And they can make a base, and they could fly from there to the Philippines and bomb all the different islands. And so we did the initial landing in one of the regiments, and then when you see a lot of little islands, the natives would report Japanese there, so we'd go chase them out. So when the first operation went, the first patrol for my troop, in the infantry they called the companies, but in the cavalry they had troops. So my troop was a troop. And so we went out of we were at a beachhead, and they would start moving. They were supposed to go about 4,000 yards or something like that. We didn't get past over 400 or 500. And so they spotted a bunch of attempts at Japanese. And so Chase, because he's big, he's 6'3", could shoot that sort of thing in the shoulder. So I was an assistant. So I was down on one knee, feeding him clips. And then all of a sudden, wow, you see a 6'3" guy start crying. And he got shot. So the only thing I remember, I had to get my bayonet and cut his straps, and my sergeant told me to cut his straps off so they could carry him out. By that time, must have been 4 or 6 of them got wounded. So as soon as somebody gets wounded, medic, medic. And I don't know, I took that gun, I never fired it before. So before you know it, I just shooting up a storm. And when you're in action, you just do things, and you lose time and everything else. And so before I know it, the old guy next to me, Malaysian or Russian, about twice as old as I was. And my name was Augustine then, and the last name Augustine Jr., and they didn't like to call me Augustine, so Junior. Hey, Junior, we better get out of here, and everybody had left. And they had to carry the wounded out and everything else. So here we are. And so we got back, and when I got back in my foxhole, the one guy that I met there from Kansas, Fred Simon, and we were together the rest of it. So by that time, they took Chase back, and they put him on a destroyer, and they tried to get him to New Guinea, and he died anyway, so I lost my buddy. And so then I got stuck with that silly big gun, so I couldn't shoot it from the shoulder. I had to put the strap in my waist, And that happened in March, St. Patrick's Day, 1944. And the only reason I found out the date was later on I lost my Silver Star in a fly, if I could what it was. And Senator Hatfield got me a new star with a citation, and they had March 17, 1944. And so that happened in March, St. Patrick's Day. And then we had to wait from then on. As soon as you took the Admiralty, you had to wait before we went to the Philippines. And so we did a lot of things. We had boxing tournament, we had softball team, all that stuff. And then in August, the captain called me up and he says, Gonzales, I want you to be dressed up tomorrow because you're going to go, we have awards given and you're going to get a silver star. I said, for what? You know? So I was in all that. I think I forgot all about that thing, you know. And so that, they thought it was very heroic, but it wasn't because I felt like a big hero. I mean, we've seen worse things than that afterwards. You know, they had still fighting in Legacies and Luzon and finally that was why I ended up getting that. So it wasn't a kind of big old hero. Said a lot of Hail Marys, but anyway. Any other questions?
What was boot camp like? What was boot camp like?
What was boot camp like?
You know, I came, you know, I've been all the social guy, really. I mean, in high school, in sports, I played basketball, captain of my basketball team and everything. And athletics are real good for our Army life. You have to go, especially football, when you're the old coach, you learn discipline, you know. And so, so I had that background, and so coming into service, it was wartime, and it was serious time. You obeyed orders, but the discipline, you have to get up in the morning, and so, and I had never been away from home. You know, you guys can travel all over the world, but if you lived in San Diego those days and you go to LA, that's a big trip, you know. I mean, there's Long Beach, and people didn't have cars, you know. I mean, it's just little towns you just lived there, you know. And all of a sudden you get in this bunch of guys of different ages in New York, Texas, and everywhere else. And so then I started feeling the pinch of being I was an angel, but boy, they cuss up a storm, and I tell you, it was kind of rough. You know? So I started kind of panic a little bit. So they had a chaplain. He must have been a football player, because he was about 6 foot, Catholic chaplain. So I went to see him, and it helped. And I got past that, and then afterwards, I started mingling with the guys, and so little by little, you become like a team. And the guys that I took basic training with, so that was fine. And then later on, when I got assigned to a division, the same thing happened. You start mixing with some guys you're close to and so on, you know. So it was okay, you know. And then later on, you really become close. And so it's like you know, you come to school and it takes a little while for. So we had that wait after St. Patrick's. We were waiting to go to the Philippines, so we had this softball tournament, and we lost the finals, and then the boxing tournament, and still just waiting for it. And then finally MacArthur decided to go to the Philippines. So it's kind of a social deal, you know. And so I had buddies there, you know. Can't remember having some you get along with, and you don't, you know.
Yeah. Did you sustain any injuries?
You know, I went to one shelling, not injury. You know, we're supposed to make the. We finished fighting in Legacies. We got landed in Legacies October 20th. We went nonstop till New Year's, and there's the jungles and everything else, and then we came back, and MacArthur wanted the 1st Cavalry to get 12th Cavalry because his dad was commander of the 12th in 1900 to be the ones fighting in Luzon. So you should have had some kind of rest, but we didn't get much rest, you know. And so then when we getting ready. We're in Lingayen, that's 100 miles north of Manila. By that time, the Japanese started bringing people to prison. So the San Tomas prison had about 2,000 Filipinos there. And there's a good book on the prisoners of the death march were in Cabanatown in a ranger outfit. It was a true story. They liberated about 500. And so MacArthur wanted us to go on down and do the same thing down so it's getting ready to go, and it was going to be at the hardest fighting. And but I started going to cramps in my stomach, you know. So I remember going to the medic, and so I go to the medic, and I could tell by looking at him, he said, no, this guy wants to check it out, you know. And it made it worse. And then the Filipinos, they made a tea for me with a cascara, so I vomited a hookworm, and it was about that size, you know. So then they rushed me into a field hospital. And so I missed the first 2 weeks of fighting in Manila, which were the hardest. And my particular regiment came in from the south in Rizal Stadium, and we lost a lot of guys. I was in the hospital, my lieutenant came there, Lieutenant McAdoo, he got shot. And he said, hey, Junior, it's pretty hot in there, you know. So that wasn't an injury, but it's something that kept me from going in there. And then finally I had my 2 weeks, and I had a chance to go to Mass and everything else. And that was a real hard decision, because you could kind of tell the guys that next day I'm still sick, and you know, well, we were like, how would I put it? You know, like the hospital was like here, and the artillery was down maybe a mile or two down there. The shells kept coming over, you know, and then you were in the hospital, and you could see the guys that come in and shot up and everything else. So the big decision was to tell the guy that I'm ready to go back. So I did. I said, I'm ready to go back, you know. And as soon as I said, I'm ready to go back, I was almost sorry I said that, you know. But I remember meeting my buddies, and you could tell they had gone through a lot of tough times, because their faces were kind of you know, someone that's going through a lot of shock. And so that was the only injury I had. You know, we got shelled a couple of times, and the one big one was right there around my Manila hotel. And I don't know what kind of artillery you have, because I was at least from that wall to that, and even further. And this shell had it, and I don't know how many got killed, but it picked me up like a body slam on a wrestler. And I thought everybody got hit, and I just had a scratch, but it wasn't. That's the one closest I had for injuries. So I was pretty blessed in not coming up shot up like most people. So that was it. I think the hardest thing in the Lake Gianna was the weather. It rained all the time, you know, and it's just and you know you sleep every night in three-man foxholes. So you do 2 hours watch and then sleep 4. So you go on from say from 6 to 8, and you sleep to 12, and then 12 to 2 you go on, and that's every day. And you know, rain or shine, and you're always so you don't know when you're going to get it, and that's the big thing, you know. So it's kind of, you're always in tension. So when you finish it, it's kind of nice to get away. So it was kind of rough when we went to lose down was nonstop. And then, but I left the book with Mr. Heiberger about The Killing of the Rising Sun. I hope you guys get a chance to read it. The other one is by Bill Manchester, MacArthur, American Caesar. MacArthur gets a lot of criticism sometimes. But you know, we were outside the Manila Hotel, and the snipers were shooting. So we're all on the ground, you know, you don't want to move, trying to spot it. So when you're down on the ground, you're a smaller target. So we're all laying down in the whole regiment, and there comes this Jeep, and it drives right up in the front. And we look up there, who they done plucked them in? And here's this crazy MacArthur. And you know, when you read the Manchester's book, I don't know how many times he had an intuition that they couldn't kill him for some reason. And so there's no doubt about his bravery. He might have did other things. And the way he fighting, he did a lot of, I think when he first became in charge, he had the big battle of Laguna, and they did, you can win by manpower, but you lose a lot of guys. And his strategy was isolate the guys and save a lot of lives. So I'm talking to you here, and I thank God that I served under him, otherwise I would be talking to you right now. And so, but that's the only thing I could, I didn't get no, my buddies in Kansas, and like the guy got shot and bullets and everything else, so that's about it.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Yeah, well, I said it, you know, like, you didn't have these cell phones, you know. So they had mail, that's only you get letters, and letters are powerful. I was 18, I had a couple of girlfriends, but I didn't have really a steady one. So, I just tell you, it's powerful, you know, you know, if you have any relatives, stay in touch with them, whatever you do. You know, I can't tell you how. If you get homesick, I remember when in the Abbotsford Islands, we had that long stretch. And I would dream that I was home, and then I could tacos, burritos, and everything else. Then you wake up in the same old tent, you know. And then it got so bad that you were dreaming, and then you didn't want to dream, you know. And I was homesick all the time, I'm going to tell you, you know. I was looking forward to getting it all over with and come home, you know. But really, and whatever you do, you know, it was really hard for me to be at the Abbey when the Vietnam War was going on. And boy, you don't know what these poor guys go through, and then come back and get a battery for people. It's really cruel, you know. I can see why they had these post-traumatic things, you know. And so, whatever you do, support them. If you have relatives, anything like that. Really, now it's easy because you have a crazy cell phone, you can hear them talk. So, it's just a different war. So that was only, and there were a lot of secrecy. You know, they come, I don't know why they did it, they just didn't, they just went in touch. And when I landed in the Philippines, my brother Manuel, he was born, he was about 8 years older than I was, and he took training up here with engineers, combat engineers, up by Bend, Oregon, Camp Abbott, I think it was the name. So he was in this, I was in the first wave to hit the beach, and he must have come in at 7th or 8th wave. And then I got a little V-mail. You send V-mail, it's just a piece of envelope, and I got word they were there. So I went to my officer and asked him, I says, if I could go look. So I had a chance, we had a break in there. After the landing, we secured Teclo, and we had maybe a couple of days just waiting before we went down the valley. And they were really sad. I went to the APO office, and they didn't know where their engineers were, so I had to go back. The sad thing about it, my brother Mayo had a breakdown, and so he was disabled the rest of his life. He was older than I was, and so he lived with the disability for, he died maybe in his 60s or 70s. And the other one, my oldest brother, Joe, and he had 6 kids, so nobody wanted to take him. So the Marines took him. And so all 3 of us were in that fighting in the Philippines. That was pretty neat. So the other thing, you know, when I came back, the old priest told me, he said, you're not here because you're good looks. He said, you're here because your mom prayed every day. You go to church every day. And I'm sure that her prayers helped a lot. And so I don't care. I did Todd praying, I'll just tell you. It's good to have this Episcopalian with me, and later on, Fred Simon from Kansas. We were together, so we had a chance to. You need all the support you can get.
Yeah.
You know?
What was the food like? The food?
Well, you know, when you left San Francisco, they put us on a victory ship. And they had a merchant marine crew. They had a gun in case the submarines would come after you. They had a gun crew on there. But we had our cooks and 2 meals a day. And plus, I think for about 2 or 3 days, about half the ship was seasick. And it was a mess, I just tell you, know. So finally I'd come down, but that kind of, their food was kind of, it wasn't all that hot. In the Army, in basic training, it was fair. But it depended on each troop had its own cooks, or in that time with companies. So, but the ones that really fed you good, it was the Navy. So when we sailed from the Admiralties to make the invasion to the Philippines, that was Navy ships and Navy transports. And they give you 2 meals, first class food.
Real quick, Francis. Can you tell them about starvation? Speaking of food, can you tell them about your encounter at Starvation Ridge?
Oh, well, Thanksgiving of maybe 44. We were, if you look in the map, we landed in Leyte, and we got Tacloban in the capital, and Palo, and then Leyte Valley. And then there's the mountains. And then over the mountains is Ormont. And so we got into fighting in Leyte Valley. And then about Thanksgiving, we were in the last ridge. And we couldn't get them out of it because they had it cleared out. And we'd shell the ridge. And when you start going, and they just come out of their holes and they're shooting right down our throats, you know. And so the colonel was in a big hurry for some reason or other. And to get over to us, there were no roads. You know, there was just car-about trails. And so you had to have pack trains, you know. We had Filipinos carrying the supplies for us, you know. And so he left a key spot open, and the holes and everything else. Well, some Japanese, they follow our troops, so they took over the holes, you know. So the Thanksgiving, you know, the Army will give you turkey even if you're in purgatory, they get taken to it, you know. So they brought this turkey, and they had it all loaded, and they had guards in the front, and as soon as they got in this key position, what did they see? Just in him, Japanese eyes, so they dropped everything and they ran. And they're lucky they made it. So then they had us cornered. So we had to